What is up, and good evening, everyone. We are at the boat shop. Unfortunately, it gets dark here at like 5 o'clock, so we're doing this in the dark. We got some lights set up, but we have found the rot. This whole floor is gonna have to come out. Luckily, the stringers and everything, tank, all looks good so far. The tank was redone in 2010, and stringers, everything looks good. It looks like it's just the floor. So we're gonna start cutting this up, scraping this out, doing some tests and checks and see what's going on. And yeah, we'll see what it brings. But looks like we got our work cut out for us, because this is pretty bad. Alright guys, so now that we have a little bit of daylight, I'm going to go over kind of where we're at and what's going on with everything on the floor of the boat. Obviously, you've seen a little bit of time lapse of us cutting and scraping and doing some stuff. Now, we have a pretty big problem that we need to address, but basically, the nice thing is we got this cleaned out pretty good and dried up. We started cutting here, and there was rotten wood back here, which you might have seen, and I can't remember if I showed you or not. And there's rotten wood all along the edge and pretty much up here to the front. Now, this floor, and I verified this, has been repaired. Where this foam, I don't know if it was old school Kusa style board or what, went all the way back to here. You can kind of see the end of it right there. And we actually, when we were trying to pull this up, it delaminated the bottom of the floor. So you can see the woven fiberglass right here, which that's a big problem. We don't know if when the repair was done, because of how this looks different and how it attached different, if when they were cleaning the floor, if it got burned through and they just put a bunch of resin on it and stuck it over. We don't know if we just ripped it up getting this stuff off. But basically, we're gonna have to patch this, which the only caveat to that is there's an access hole right here that we can get through. So we should be able to get our hand up underneath here if we need to lay up or support anything underneath, or, you know, do something under here. So we decided not to pull this foam up anymore. We're actually just gonna grind it out. But the shitty thing is that they didn't go all the way to the edge. So they left wood on the outside edge all the way along past the repair. So we were thinking about leaving this and just fixing the fiberglass on top, and basically all this under here is rotted, and under here they didn't go all the way under here either. So they did just a patch to make it sturdy. So now that changed our whole outlook on what we're gonna do. So we were gonna go, there's 3/8 thick coring that was on here. So we were trying to find some 3/8 thick composite material. We couldn't find any. We were gonna get 3/8 marine grade plywood, but then what ended up happening when this whole foam debacle came about, we kind of changed our plan, and we're gonna end up going to a 1/4 inch piece of, I don't know if this is Airex or some other composite material. I'm not sure what we're gonna use yet. I will definitely document that when we start to do it. But the problem is, because this rolls off, because it's kind of a gutter to the drain back there, is what we think, and because the floor rolls like pretty hard. If we were to do 3/8, we could get 3/8 in there, but we'd have to use wood. They only make this stuff in 1/4 or 1/2 inch, I believe. And what we decided, since we basically had to cut the whole top of the floor off, we are gonna use 1/4, because it fits under here actually super nice. So it fits in there. So we're gonna get all the old wood and everything cleaned out of there. We're gonna get this, a nice piece of this wrapped up in here, all the way across from this edge into that edge, and we'll get it all in there. Core bond everything, and we're gonna end up building a couple extra layers of glass up on top to bring the floor back to this level. So instead of it being like 1 or 2 sheets of glass on top of the floor, or using the old panels and making it all fit, we're gonna end up remaking the entire floor with this underneath as the base. You know, this stuff is like honeycomb style, and we're gonna end up putting a lot more glass on top to make it all nice and new and fresh and everything. So we will actually be fixing a lot more problems, you know, by doing the entire floor. So that's kind of the plan for right now. We're gonna grind this out today. I think our big goal is get this side all cut out, which luckily we're doing this on Sunday, so we have a good bit of daylight, so we can actually get some good work in today. It's a little hot, but it should be okay. Shouldn't be too bad. Now, the other thing I will talk about right now is this tank is a coated and relatively new tank. The date of manufacture was 2010, so that means this tank is no more than 15 years old. It's a coated tank, so that helps prolong the life even more. And the thing is that this boat was out of the water for about 6 or 7 of those years and not being used, maybe even more. So I don't think we're gonna have a big issue with that. I've already replaced all the hoses over here and all that stuff when I bought the boat. So I think what I'm gonna end up doing is getting in the engine bay with my camera, scoping the bottom of the tank, make sure everything halfway looks okay. But I don't think we're gonna be pulling this tank out. It looks to be in really good shape. It looks like it was done nice. The stringers are solid, or the tank walls, everything like that is super solid. So I'm not super stressed about it, but basically we're gonna get suited up, put a mask on, start cutting out the rest of the floor all the way up here to the front, get it all cleaned out as best we can, as much of the shit we can get out as we need, and then start coming up with our plan and figuring out what the rest of the day is gonna bring for this project. I'm hoping we don't have to work too long on it. All right, so we are running out of daylight here, but I just wanted to give you guys an update and probably wrap up this video as part 1 for redoing the floor in our 89 Scarab XL. So we had some issues, which I was talking about earlier, where the floor is like delaminating, so we have some patchwork to do on here, but we pretty much were taking that oscillating multi-tool and getting all the wood out from underneath here, around there. We have to finish a little bit more on this side, and we have to just grind and sand and prep the fiberglass just a little bit more to get it ready for doing the new layup and all that stuff. But pretty much so far, aside from the unexpected foam that we had to break out of here and that old floor repair, we just cut around the edge, leaving a little bit, you know, with a skill saw. We set it pretty shallow to get it all cut out. The rotten wood was super easy because it just broke apart, so we just cleaned all that out, just scraped it all out. The foam we had to break up with like a Sawzall blade that was chopping into it. And then once we got that out, basically we took a flap disc on a grinder and grinded out the rest of the floor and got it all prepped up. Gonna do a little bit more cleanup and all that stuff, but pretty much got everything ground off of here. We broke out, now there was some fresh wood still up here, so we're gonna leave that and get that all cleaned up as best we can, get it cleaned out. But we started working on this side, taking all the stuff out of there, and then basically once we get this all prepped, we will go into the next step, which would be cutting out the floor, laying it in, and doing all the core bond and all that stuff. So that's gonna be in the next segment of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's a fun adventure. Luckily have some help doing this, but it's quite the task. Hasn't been too bad. We've put probably a couple hours, probably 4 or 5 hours in total on getting this thing cut out, prepped up, and to this point. So like I said, we have a little bit more of cleanup to get all the rotted wood out and all that good stuff, but once we get all the nasty old stuff out, get all the bottom sanded and all that stuff, then we'll start going into rebuilding the floor. We're actually gonna build it up with a little bit more fiberglass, a little bit thinner composite material in the floor. So once we do that, we also need to rebuild the center fuel tank panel here, so we're gonna cut that out, recore that one also. So that'll be another process once we can do that inside. So that's gonna do it. If you enjoyed the video, drop a thumbs up here, and if you guys are new, welcome to the channel. We're out. We'll see you next time.